So, welcome back to Beer Ambassadors. I'm your host, Mikhail Woodward, and I'm here with Julian from Beachwood Brewing Company.
How's everybody doing?
And we're here in Long Beach at did you call this the Promenade? Promenade?
I call it Promenade.
The Promenade.
Yeah.
So we're on the Promenade and happened to run into him as a friend and I were having lunch, and so you guys get the privilege of finding out about some of the beers. So first, before we get into some other stuff, tell us about the beer, because I had a couple great beers here today. You always have fantastic beers, but you had recommended this beer, so tell them about this beer really quickly.
Oh, well, thank you for the kind words. The beer that you have is called Light Idea, and we're particularly proud of that beer. It's an American light lager, and honestly, most brewers love to drink session beers, flavorful, low alcohol beers that you can crush and throw back.
Yeah.
And that beer is super clean, super refreshing, and it's not from a macro brewery. It's from right here at Beachwood.
Exactly. So what I get on this when I'm smelling it, I get these nice malt aroma, and I can smell kind of there's something about lager yeast. You kind of get this aroma from.
Right. Lager yeast always give a little characteristic sulfur, and that's it's very, very kind of like threshold, barely detectable level, but it's enough to tell most people when they pick up the beer and smell like this isn't an ale, this is definitely a lager.
Lager, yeah.
And that's a fairly simple stripped down beer. It's all American 2-row malt. We use a lot of rice in that beer as well.
Okay.
And you can kind of.
So that's why the American, because you put in the rice as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's American lagers, light lagers are in the most general sense modeled after European pilsners. Most of the brewers that started in America in kind of the mid 19th century, a lot of them, Augustus Busch, Adolf Coors, Yuengling, I mean, they're all German brewers, and they all brought their kind of Pilsner traditions to the U.S., which is why most American macro breweries make pale lager, is they're modeled after Pilsners.
So I will say this has a nice crisp character, very clean. I get the malt, I do get the rice kind of blend. There's a nice effect with the lager yeast you're saying, but flavorful and clean. You know.
That's what we're going for.
Yeah, it's very nice. And you're drinking what now?
Bulldog. This is our dry stout that we brew every year for St. Patrick's Day.
Okay, so I didn't try that one. I did try, they have Mounds of Joy. You got Mocha Machine, which is amazing.
Thank you.
You got, there was something else on the top there that I'm not remembering. You have two other stouts there.
We also have Utter Love.
Utter Love,
milk
great
stout.
milk stout, great milk stout.
Thank you. Kilgore, our roasty hoppy American stout, and then we also have Mounds of Joy.
Mounds of Joy,
And
I loved it.
Kitten Canoodle, which is our Valentine's Day beer. That was an imperial stout with raspberries and chocolate.
Raspberry really strong in there. A little sweet for me, but I get it. It was nice. Along with chocolate and everything, it was really good. So then you have a lot of IPAs. If you guys like IPAs, you have to come down here. Amalgamator, very good classic. I got to try, and now I'm forgetting the name.
Citraholic.
That's what happens when you're drinking. No, I love Citraholic. I'm familiar with that one too.
Houses of the Hazy?
Houses of Hazy.
Okay.
I just tried the NEPA, or the New England IPA.
Sure.
That was really nice. It was well balanced, clean. You want to tell us about that a little bit? Because that's new. Right?
That's a new beer for us. Yeah, Houses of the Hazy is a little nod to Led Zeppelin, because one of the driving hops in that beer is a new variety called Cash. The other two hops in that beer would be Mosaic and Citra, which are some of our favorite hops to work with. It's a different yeast than we normally use in our other IPAs, and it kind of leaves a softer, fruitier mouthfeel in the beer. We use a lot of flaked oats in the beer. We do a different water treatment, but it's just a much chewier, softer IPA.
That's interesting, because I was going to say I thought it was a little softer. There was definitely the fruit notes there, but now I understand, since I can get to talk to you about that one. And then I also tried the other one, which was fantastic. It was on the bottom board there.
Trail Seeker, Citraholic, Street 3 Block 2.
Oh, it's the Black IPA.
Oh, Hoppet Emeritus.
That is, I love Black IPA, and it's really good.
Yeah, we're super proud of that beer. Yeah, that's a fun one to make.
Yeah. You want to tell us what's in that one?
Yeah, so Hoppet Emeritus is what I'll call a full West Coast India Black Ale. And
it's fantastic.
Very hop driven, super aromatic, dry. Despite the dark color, it's only lightly accented with roasted malt. But the main driving hops in that are Equinox, Citra, and then a little bit of Mosaic. So
I think it's a
piney, tropical, fruity.
Yeah, you get all that in there. I was gonna say I get the tropical and some piney notes in there, and it's very nice. I think it's a well balanced, and I would say it's a West Coast IPA, even though it's dark.
It is.
So let's go for people who don't know you, and I know this is going to be a quick one, and we'll go to some other time. But how did you get into brewing? Were you a home brewer first?
I was. Yeah. How did I get into brewing? I started in the mid '90s when I was in college. And I bought my first homebrew kit, or I should say my parents bought it for me as a holiday gift in 1996. So I guess I've technically been brewing here for 22 years.
Wow.
And that first homebrew kettle that I got, we actually still use on a daily basis here in the brewery for mixing up certain solutions.
That's really cool.
It's still in use.
What size is that?
5 gallon.
5 gallon?
It's small. Okay. It's just for mixing up certain small batches of
like test batches kind of thing?
No, for clarifying solutions that we need to mix up in the brewery primarily, or a few other miscellaneous things. But
that's cool that you still have a pot.
We
have to go get a picture of that pot. That's starting it all.
It's pretty beat up.
Okay.
But I started brewing in 1996 when I was going to school for engineering.
Wow.
And home brewing was something that I did off and on for a number of years. I was always into craft beer. There was a lot of craft beer when I was going to school in the mid 90s. Firestone had just opened up their brewery, and Double Barrel Ale was the only beer that they made. It was the local beer in Santa Barbara. And then in the early 2000s, when I moved to Southern California, I was living by myself. Hadn't really met a whole lot of people down here, and just kind of out of boredom and loneliness, I really dove back into homebrewing and developed a deep passion for it. And for me, it was always an extension of my engineering sensibilities. It's a mix of art and science, and it's almost integrated.
For sure.
And it just seemed like a very natural thing for me to do and enjoy and understand. And eventually, I was able to make the leap from engineering and leave engineering and open a brewery. I got very lucky.
So, basically, what was the leap though that brought you from homebrewing to professional brewery?
In the early 2000s, when I moved down here, that was kind of before the second wave of craft brewing had popped, or hit, I should say. And a lot of brewers in San Diego and even Northern California were super accessible, and so I had the good fortune of forming friendships with people like Vinny Chilurzo, Tommy Arthur, Jeff Bagby, and those guys were always tasting my beers, giving me advice, letting me come in and hang out, and eventually the guys, Tommy Arthur and Jeff Bagby and a few other people, let me come in to their breweries and brew my own recipes on a full scale. So I got lucky that I got exposure and the opportunity to do that.
That's awesome.
As a home brewer. So
I love that about this community, about the camaraderie and the support compared to other industries where it's all cutthroat. And so I love that, and it's awesome to hear stories like that. And I know some of the same people and seeing that, so it makes sense. It's really cool. But that all of a sudden, with making those collaboration beers, being able to run their equipment, it made you want to go in and start your own company?
Yeah, it did. I think the ability or the appeal of having creative autonomy, doing whatever I want, whenever I want, was something that I didn't realize how much I would get from that until I got into it, or until I got close to getting into it. But working for somebody else as an engineer was great. I enjoyed it as a career, but it is really tough to be able to steer your own ship wherever you want. That's incredibly rewarding.
Gotcha.
So,
and now you have 4 locations.
we technically do. There's the original Beachwood BBQ in Steel Beach. This is the second location, and maybe kind of the nexus of all Beachwood brewing. Around the corner, we have Beachwood Blendery, which is our sour beer facility and barrel house. And then in Huntington Beach, just south of here, we have a tap room and, more importantly, our production facility, which is where we produce all of our year-round beers like Amalgamator, Citraholic, Foam Top, even Milk Machine.
I think that's the first time I tasted Milk Machine is at the Huntington Beach location.
Cool.
If I remember correctly. Well, cool. Is there anything you want to tell people in parting about Beachwood or yourself? Or
We are, I mean, at our core, we're a very creative, small, independent business, and we love our customers. We have really, really great customers and great support. And we're lucky. That's why we get to do this. So,
one thing I keep telling people on the show is that, brewers are entrepreneurs and support local. But as an entrepreneur, do you have anything you want to say to people as an entrepreneur? I know it's a hard road, and you really do rely on people coming in, and that's why you love the people supporting you.
So for me, one of the most important reasons that I support small, independent, local businesses, or I should say good, independent, local businesses, is because that ensures that you get diversity of products out there. When you have big corporations that don't have a whole lot of competition, or there's no reason for them to innovate, you're going to get boring, monotonous products. And we have just such a huge creative platform here, and I'm not at the mercy of some stockholders who need the stock price driven up, because I need to find cheaper malt or cheaper hops.
Yeah.
No, if I want to buy more expensive malt and make a different beer and make a better beer, I get to do it, and I get to make that call. And so small independent businesses are always going to have more creative freedom, and I think be able to innovate more and give the customer more interesting products.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to support small independent businesses.
So can just like a takeaway, is there anything that you've learned as an entrepreneur, or even just a brewery, that you would maybe pass on or encourage people to get past?
I would say nobody is immune from criticism, and always assume that criticism is valid.
Yeah.
Even if you think somebody's way off base, chances are there's a kernel of truth in what they're saying, and you can learn from that or improve from that. And I would always you're in a better position if you assume that criticism is valid, and when you are a business with customers and you're in the public sphere, you're only going to do better if you open yourself up to that.
Awesome. So 4 locations.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything we're looking forward to Beachwood in the future?
Everything. More beer.
Just keep coming.
More beer. We can't quite make enough. We need more equipment. So yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show,
My
and
pleasure.
I look forward to having you on in the future and seeing the growth. And I love the beers. And thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you
All
for
right.
the support.
All right.
Cheers.